Yep, moving along.
Here's the problem. 34,000 companies overspend $2.1 billion annually on cloud data warehouses because code optimization is manual and time-consuming data warehouse bill per second that code takes to run.
There's part of this I love, and part of it I think we got to challenge.
Okay.
Just one small pet peeve. First off, I'm going to say I like where these guys went. Right out of the gates, I'm going to give this a letter grade of a B, and I'll dig into why I'm going to give it a B. And a B is good. First pass, I'm going to say they did a lot of things right. That said, this is a small pet peeve. You don't need citations in a problem statement. This isn't a college term paper. Everyone's going to assume, unless there's something ludicrous about what you just said, that you're probably right. Your thoughts there?
I agree with you. Don't put in this full sort of citation thing or what have you. But sometimes I just see someone just put the source, like they say Reuters or Rutgers or whatever. And, that's fine. I'm agnostic to it, but I think it's overkill to put that whole citation down there.
Yeah, I think it's a distraction. Just generally speaking, again, I understand why people do it because they think in terms of like more academic papers.
Yeah.
What I generally say is, unless there is something that is unbelievable about what you said, you just don't need it. People generally just take your word for it and move on. Later on, if there's a diligence question where that's an unbelievable fact, we'll ask it. But for now, we'll just kind of move on. But there's a couple things kind of missing in the opener. 34,000 companies. What companies? U.S. companies, SMBs, Fortune, obviously not 500s, Fortune, whatever. I need to know what type of companies. So you left me a little inspecific as to what types of companies we're spending. Overspending $2.1 billion? Ed, that doesn't feel like a lot. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot because I don't understand what that overspending is. And this is where I would say kudos for putting the word 34,000 companies. Let's define the market a little more. Kudos for putting a number. They've clearly been listening to us because it's like how much this problem costs. But frankly, I don't understand what code optimization manual time consuming is. So
that
I don't
was
know
the second part I was going to get into. Yeah.
So I don't know if $2.1 billion is a lot compared to that. Is that in salaries? Like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, what I want to do is I want to chop this in half. I want to chop the challenge here that they've got in half. I love what they did with 34,000 companies. Again, I'd like to know what type of companies those are, or segment that a little bit. Are they U.S. companies? If that matters. What size of companies? Big, small, if that matters. Overspending $2 billion, to be honest, when we get an enterprise, corporate, et cetera, $2 billion is a drop in the bucket. That doesn't feel like that much, but okay. But I want to take overspend $2 billion annually on, by the way, whenever we said overspend $2 billion, whatever, I always assume it means annually, but that's okay. On cloud data warehouse, okay, let's segment that half. The second part, I think, is where we got thrown.
Yeah.
Because code optimization is manual and time consuming. This is what throws everybody. The guys who started this have already been to the team slide, so I know who it is. They know implicitly what code optimization has to do with cloud data warehouses.
Yes. Which we
no one else does. The rest of the world does not. And this is, and for the folks listening right now, remember, you know what your product does. You know those little details about why, in this case, code optimization has anything to do with why you'd be running up your cost at a data warehouse. No one else does. Or assume no one else does. You know what I mean?
Now, if I wanted to push this, all right, just learning. Now, I don't mind if a founder gives me a unique insight where I go, I didn't know this, right?
Sure.
But if somehow you communicated with me and I didn't get lost right out of the gate, you said something to the effect, did you know that data warehouses bill every second that there's an engineer trying to manually optimize your code, and that's a big waste? Then, okay, now that's something at least I can grasp onto without technical knowledge.
You bet. I love the did you know that. That's a really interesting way of putting it. And what we have to do is we have to set up the fact you're losing money specifically in a data warehouse every second based on the fact that your code, specifically the optimization of your code, is the factor.
Yes.
Now, what we're saying is because code optimization itself is manual and time consuming, there's some implicit funkiness going on there. In other words, that it's manual and time consuming. Ergo, if it was more automated, you'd be optimizing it more, and somehow that would translate into your bill going down. But it's not direct enough.
Yeah, I would say
we kind of made some jumps.
Yes, and that's why I think your B grade is warranted. I think the raw materials, the pieces are there. It just they didn't land it.
But again, and we can move on. But we jumped the shark a little bit here, right? Like, in other words, we jumped and we said, hey, you should already understand how this business works, and therefore you should already know that code optimization is what it's all about. And you would only say that if you already knew how this business worked.
Yes, exactly. But let me just point out, and I want to give kudos to the founder here. I think I forgot already.
Kevin?
It's Kyle.
Kyle,
Kudos.
yep.
What I love is the simplicity. It's one sentence.
Yep.
Kind of a subheadline, but one clear sentence. They took a crack at it. It's not like a wall of text, or I don't have 6 bullet points underneath this that I have to read or lead me in multiple directions. That's what I like about this slide.
Yep. Loved it.